Let me take this bracelet.
So, welcome to the Girl Hush podcast.
Girl, hush.
GirlHush.
And we are so excited to be back with you all. And so, we're going to bring you another interesting topic tonight. And so, tonight, ladies, first of all, let me start off by asking, how are y'all doing?
Doing good. How are you doing?
I don't have any complaints.
Oh,
So, we see that you're back from your road to 50. We see that you have finally landed on your destination because we know that
Well,
last week you was traveling on your road to 50.
I'm back. I'm back. I have landed. And I'm just kind of here temporarily, in and out.
Now, what does that mean?
That means she's
means
still
that
celebrating.
I am still celebrating. Okay.
Well deserved. You deserve to be celebrated.
Yes, you do. And then our other Girl Hush member, she is going to be celebrating in what, 3 more days? Wendy, what are you on your road to, Wendy?
37.
She on the road to 37, so she ain't quite made it to 40 yet.
She's the baby of the bunch, and we left
Yes.
her.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's the Girl Hush baby. And so she's going to be celebrating on the 31st. So we got some March babies on her team. We got some March babies on here.
One time for the March babies. I'm
Yep.
okay with that.
And so tonight, everyone, we are going to be talking about balance and what does balance look like. So tonight's podcast is called Balance and Act. And so we're going to talk about what does that look like? You know, for many of us, we're women, we're mothers, we're wives, we're parents. We got some kind of leadership position in the church or something at work. I mean, we wear so many hats. And sometimes when you think about the different hats that we wear as women, the question always comes to mind, how do you balance that much? How does that look in the life of somebody who's busy? And I know the 4 of us, we're so very busy and we have so much going on. And so, Wendy, I want to start with you. Just talking about, what does balance look like?
Balance for me is I probably should have went last because I do not have much balance.
You want me to start with Takitha?
I am not very balanced. But for me, it's more of less of balance and more of priority.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I feel like because we all are busy and things like that, we kind of have to pour into a lot of different cups and stuff. And stuff. You know, you only got 2 hands. You can hold a cup in each hand, and then you might can put a cup on your lap and a cup on your shoulder and a cup on your hand. But I think that you just have to which cups are in your hand at that point in time are the ones that are priority. And even though they're still there and existing, they aren't, the priority. So that's kind of where I am as far as balance is. It's just kind of trying to juggle them, but some are a little higher priority than others.
Yeah. And I went in the direction of the person under me, Wendy, and on this screen you're under me, so I was going down and then left. So with that order, Takitha, what does balance look like? I know you're also a student, so what does balance look like? Wife, mom, student, worker?
I guess I would kind of have to piggyback off of Wendy. Balance is prioritizing for me because it can look different on a daily basis. It just depends on, like she said, what the priority is for the day, for the week, for the moment. So now, since I have become a student, that added another layer into my life. And so what I found, and even like in my current job, my advice to other people is to use that planner. So I have to balance a lot of times with my planner. I have to write down in my planner like what I want to do for the week, for the day. So even like priority, my health and wellness, my spiritual things, I write all that down. So I'll know like what time I'm supposed to be here, what time I'm doing what. But again, that can change depending on what the priorities are for the day. But that
Absolutely.
does help me, I guess, seeing those little checklists so that I can see that I've accomplished things for the day or the week. That does help me to balance. And then for me, I really like important to me is like personal balance. So if I feel like things are taking over my personal space, then I don't really do well. So I really, really try to have that balance, with even with work, with school. And funny that you said, because you always say, well, when I started school, I tried to get you to go to school with me. Well, that wasn't my balance season then for school. So like
Yeah, you
that
told
wasn't
me
my
that.
yeah. And so I think I just have to prioritize things like that.
Yeah. And I did try to get you to start with me so that we could graduate together. I thought it would be neat that we walk across the stage together. But like you said, that wasn't a priority for you at the time. I think I was looking on my
Right.
journey. I had crossed that road to 50. You were on your way to 50. So it was higher
Right.
up on my priority list. So,
Exactly.
Tanisha, what does balance look like to you?
Oh my gosh. For me, I'm single, it's meaning that I'm not married, has shifted. The balance has shifted for me over the years. I think when I was younger, a single mom, balance to me was measurable. It was quantified. I had to get the job, raise my family, make more money, get more education. It was all about adding, adding, adding. And it was very busy for me. Now that I'm more settled and my children are grown, balance for me is more about quality. So whatever gives me a peace of mind, whatever gives me gratification, and I can do those things and do those things effectively, then I feel like I'm balanced. If something is not done or something is causing me to be, off kiltered,
Off balance.
right. It's do I really need to do this? So I start my day with the affirmation, with some type of devotion, some type of prayer, and Lord, let me be the best me that I could be on today with your guidance. Now, that has to fit into what needs to be done and what doesn't need to be done, and so I'm less stressful, as I'm older. Things that were more important to me back some years ago, they are not that important to me. If I feel like, case in point, you all were talking about being a student. I started my doctorate degree back in 2019, going into 2020. And so I took a pause for some reason, for different, reasons. And, I feel like school would be there when I get there. It's not a priority for me as it was when I was in my 20s. So do I really need it? Will it add to my life? So balance to me, it has to add, it has to be productive, it has to be peaceful. I know as women, we wear like this superwoman on our chest and we have to get a lot of things done. I realize that, hey, if I don't get it done, I'm not the savior of the world. If I don't get it done, then there's always tomorrow. I have another day, but another opportunity to get it done. So balance to me is less stress.
Yeah. And I totally agree with you. I ditto everything that you say. And it was funny that you said about the degree, because that was a conversation that Takitha and I had when we started this doctorate program. Like, is it gonna are we gonna make more money? Is it gonna really add value? What's the point? And all of those questions, her and I actually had this conversation in her office, like, is it something we want to embark on, and what's gonna be the benefits other than more student loans, so to speak?
And it's not that I am going to finish it, and it will give me gratification. But at the times and periods in my life where I needed to take a pause, it wasn't. It was too stressful for me. So at that time, with other things that I had going on. So to keep my balance, I had to take away something so that I can focus more on something else. And that gives me balance, and that
Yeah.
gave me.
Yeah, and I understand what you're saying, but the point, I like the point that you made. Is it going to add value? Is this worth
Yes.
it? And it may not only be a degree, but if we're honest with ourselves, you have so many people going to school seeking a degree and they're not even using it. Their job is probably in something else, and so that's why you have to ask yourself, what value is this going to add? Or is it just something you getting that's going to, cost you more in the long run? So I think that's a critical question that we have to ask ourselves. I do think age plays a difference in how you balance your life. You balance a little bit different as you get older and start climbing closer to 50 than you do probably in your 20s and your 30s, I think. Same thing that Wendy said about priorities. I think that is so important, because when I think about my life and how I balance, because I used to just be all over the place. Y'all know, I used to just be completely all over the place. But when I start getting
Yes,
to my,
we know.
it may seem like I'm over the place now, but I'm really not. And the reason I'm not over the place, I sort of have that same thing that Tanisha does. And balance for me changes from week to week. And so I always start my day off in prayer, asking God, whatever plans I have, because I have a whole lot of plans. God, if it's not in alignment with your plans for me, then, we're not doing this. So I need you to speak to me clearly, and I need you to clarify. So when I think about my life and I think about all the different hats that I wear, mom, wife, instructor, grandma, parent, traveler, whatever, because I wear many hats. So what I think about, what I do is I ask God, and I lay this before God, and I think about my life like little bitty squares, right? Or Wendy, I like the affirmation that Wendy used. She used the word picture, trying to fill a picture. So I look at my glass. Let's say, for instance, I got 10 pictures, okay? And so balance for me is not filling up each picture so that the water is equal across each picture or each square or each whatever you want to call it, flower pot, so that it's balanced all the way across. So in this month or in this season of my life, my God may be saying, hey, picture 1, 2, and 4, that's what's important, and that's what I need you to work on. Okay. In another season of my life, God may say, hey, 5 and 7, that's the only thing I want you to work on. In another season of my life, 8, it's the only thing I want you to work on. So it's whatever I say. But a lot of times when we think about balance, we think about all of the pictures have to be equal all the way across. And that's not the case. Sometimes one picture may be higher and the other picture low, depending on, and it goes back to what Wendy said, it goes back to priorities. And I realized that for me, balance is always, I have to ask myself, is it kingdom? Or is it, like Tanisha said, is it going to add value to my life? And in order to have that balance for me at the age of 51, what helps me to stay balanced is to know my priorities, to know what God is calling me to do at this season in my life. Like, for example, I run a nonprofit, but I'm also getting a doctorate program. Last probably 6 months ago, my nonprofit was more important, whereas now I'm close to graduation. So this has become my priority. Does that make sense? And then after graduation, something else is going to become a priority. But what I have learned, and y'all ladies probably can testify to this, it's so important to say no. Because when you're trying to live a balanced life, everybody is coming at you every different direction. And sometimes I know for me, as a Christian and being what I call the nice person, sometimes you feel bad to say no, but I've learned now my no game has gotten really strong. Can
Honey,
anybody relate to that?
no is a complete
I
sentence.
Yeah,
She said no, it's a complete
exactly.
sentence.
And I don't know. Yes. And I don't know if I have a problem saying no, because I feel personally like if I'm not balanced and if it's not a priority, and like Tanisha said, if it's gonna wear me down, then I'm okay with just not doing it and just saying no, to
At
certain
that
things.
point
Now
now,
there are
but I
certain
haven't
things that
always been at that point.
yeah,
Yeah.
Right.
It's something
yeah,
about when I hit 45, around 45 or 46, my no game got real strong. I can say no without even blinking my eye. But if I'm honest, that hasn't always been the case. You know what I'm saying? Like, say, for instance, somebody called me and say, hey, can you teach this at church? You almost feel like, I don't want to tell them no, because this God's, you know what I'm saying? They asking me to do something for the, you know what I'm saying? But then I realize sometimes church people can be worse than just, everyday people, because as long as they can get a yes out of you, they're going to keep coming to the same people. So as I've gotten older, my no game has gotten stronger. I'm going to say that. What about you, Wendy?
Mm-hmm. I was just thinking about y'all know games, and I saw I read a quote somewhere that says that if you say no regrettably, then you'll say yes resentfully.
Oh,
Yes.
girl,
Yeah.
you didn't put that in the chat. That's powerful there.
And that would cause more problems than if you would have said no in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess me being 30, 36, about to be 37, I'm kind of in that, I guess maybe the past like 2 or 3 years, kind of being in that transition of changing my self-worth to face value, to actually what Wendy can do for Wendy versus what Wendy can do for other people.
Absolutely.
So that whole shift, because I would, say yes and just be that person and all these things, but because of the different things that I have, going on with, changing a job and being a caregiver for my husband, and
Mm-hmm.
I have a young son. Y'all got grown kids. I still got a young son that's requiring me and stuff, and so
they're pseudo grown. You hear me? They're pseudo grown. They're not all the way grown.
Yeah. So I have to just to be comfortable in saying no, and knowing that no is a boundary that
Mm-hmm.
I'm setting for me. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I cannot do that because it doesn't it's not serving me, or I can't do that because I'm already, spread thin, or it's helping you, but is it helping me type thing. So
Exactly. Sometimes you're trying to save somebody else from drowning, then you end up drowning. Absolutely. And I like how you said about the boundaries, because when we're trying to balance, it's hard to balance without boundaries. We have to have boundaries in order to balance. And something else that somebody else said, just taking, I think it was you, Wendy, just taking that me time. One of the things I do, I have to travel, or I have to take that me time, either with me and my spouse, or just me by myself, or hanging with you all, having a girls' night out. That me time is so important. When I feel like I'm off kilter, that's my time to pause and say, wait a minute, something is off. So I have to pause for the cause, and then I have to reflect, like, what's going on, because I feel off kilter. And sometimes when I feel like I'm overwhelmed, sometimes I do have to take that vacation, or I have to do, just shut down the day and don't do nothing, go to the nail shop, or go get a massage or a facial, just shut it down and then just reflect in order to get back on track. So what do y'all do when you feel like you're off kilter or you're off balance, to keep them?
Like you said, having that me time. I will just shut down. So, I guess because I kind of grew up as an only child, I'm okay with being by myself, and I think that time is really precious to me. I guess I'm kind of selfish, because I hear y'all saying a lot, like not being able to say no, and I don't really feel like I've ever had that problem of being able to say no, because if I do feel overwhelmed, then I am going to shut down for that me time so that I can regroup and come back refreshed. But I was thinking too, and I may be getting off subject, like I really feel like during the pandemic, we really, really learned too, I think, how to prioritize and what balancing was during that time, because we had so much time to reflect on that. And I think that it's helped so many of us come to the realization of what is important. I I feel like prior to the pandemic, we probably just running all the time. But during that pandemic, we really had to slow down and focus on, okay, like all of you all said, is this really important? Do I really need to do this? Is it really going to bring me any type of gratification or self-worth? But just having that downtime is important.
Like my grandmother used to say, run around like a chicken with the head cut off. And we
Yeah,
were like that.
yeah.
We were like that
And then I feel
pre-COVID.
like we were just running around, and were we really doing anything? We just running, 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 running. Were we really effective? Because I know some people are just busy, busy, busy here and there and doing all these little things, but are they really doing anything? Or are they just running and spinning in circles, you know?
And it's a good point that you're making. It's a difference in being busy and a difference in being productive. Are you being
Right,
productive or are you just being busy? So,
right,
because what have you accomplished
right.
out of all of this busyness? What have you accomplished at the end of the day? Tanisha,
Right.
what does getting back on balance look like for you?
So for me, I, I have to find one small thing that I can do right and get that little thing done right. And that gives me a little push. Say, for instance, if I'm trying to lose weight and I am not doing what I need to do to lose weight, what will get me back on balance or get me get me motivated for me to get on this scale and see that I lost 2 pounds. And once I see that I lost 2 pounds, honey, let's go walk. Sit ups.
Yeah.
Look, I don't want that muffin, So it's little baby things I think to help me that gives me. I need a little.
Small
I
win.
don't. Hmm.
Small win.
Yeah, small. Thank you. I didn't know the word for it. Thank you. Just a little small win to kickstart me, and then I'm back on balance. Just a little bit to say, "Girl, hush, you got this."
And I think we have to tell ourselves that. And I think it's so important. I think y'all brought out some very good points. Prioritizing, setting boundaries, learning to say no, taking that me time, which is so very important. Celebrating your birthday all month long can
All
help
month,
you
all month.
can help you reset, because we have to hit the reset button. We really do. We have to hit the reset button. It's a fine line when you're trying to balance. And some people still haven't figured it out. I hope that our listeners can maybe take some points from what we said. Wendy, whatever you said, I need you to put that in the chat, girl. If you say yes, say that again. Say that one more time for the listeners, Wendy. If you say yes, if you said no, regrettably.
Yeah, if you say yes, resentfully. No, if you say regrettably, you'll say, if you say no, I had to look it up.
I think you said if you say no regrettably,
no,
you would say yes
Say yes,
resentfully.
resentfully. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. Our listeners, that's y'all takeaway point. That's y'all takeaway point, listeners. GirlHush. Also, our fans, we came up with the fan name. Did we agree to that fan name before I announced it on this podcast? I need to wait. We were all in agreement with what you said, Takita. Yeah, I think we were all in agreement with what you said. You want to tell the fans their name before we get off?
We said hello, hushers.
I love it. Hi, hushers.
I love it too, the hushers. Yeah, I love it. Anybody got anything that they want to add tonight? I think this is a good topic, and fans, we are still looking for you all. Any topics you want us to talk about, we are willing to get on here, talk about it, discuss it, break it down, give you our viewpoint on it. And so just put it in the chat, things that you would like to talk about. Anybody got anything they want to add about this balancing act? We talked about time management and pausing, because we do realize that as the hats that we wear, surely we realize that we can't do it all. We can't do it all.
I want to say,
go ahead.
Keep going. I just want to say, girl, hush and keep on balancing.
And so I want our fans to know you cannot do it all. You have to find a way to balance. I pray that you took from the points that we said: say no, take vacations, set boundaries, little wins. Tanisha talked about making those small wins to push you back into a place of balance, making sure you pause and reset. Time management. I think time management, because time is one of the most precious assets, the most valuable asset we have. Once the time is gone, you can't get it back. If you lose your money, you can get money back. same thing with whatever you lose, you more than likely can get it back. But time is something that you can't get back. So it's so important that we manage our time and that we balance our time. And we balance our time for things that are important. Would y'all agree to that?
Yes, and I absolutely agree 1000%. But if I will take this moment, since you brought up many hats, I wanted to shout you out, Felicia. One of the hats that you wear is an author. One time for Felicia, the author. So you can see I'm wearing this WTW, hashtag WTW stands for Forward to Housewife. This is her first book.
Yes.
Yes, her first book. You can go to Amazon.com. Forward to Housewife, Felicia Cobbs is the author. And then also her second book, right here, says 10 Most Influential Gems. You can also get on Amazon.com. This is two of the things that she has imparted into her balancing acts.
Yeah, we have big things coming for the second book.
You mean the third book?
The third book.
Well, I'm talking about that second book as well. You know, the idea that, you know, I'm running across you. But we can't tell everybody on the podcast right now.
No.
They just have to stay tuned and keep following us and they'll find out.
Yes.
Maybe I need to find out too, because I don't know what you're
Oh, you know.
okay.
Had
well,
a long
my friend. Thank you for
about it.
shouting out my book. Thank you for support wearing my tee. I do have my gear on FeliciaCobbs.org if you want to get that shirt. FeliciaCobbs.org.
Can't see it. Sit back some. Is it on your shirt?
No, it's not. I don't have on the shirt. You have on the shirt.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
So I was just thanking you for giving me a shout out.
You're most welcome.
Yeah, but I was telling them where they could find that shirt. It's on FeliciaCobbs.org. And I'll post that link below. I will post a link. So thank you, my friend, for giving me a shout out.
Most welcome. Love you.
Anybody else got anything they want to add? Because we know that balancing it is important for our mental, it's important for our emotional, it's important for our physical, it's important for our overall well-being when we find balance, you know. And sometimes we get thrown off track, but hopefully with the tips that we left, if any of our hushers are off balance, hopefully these tips, and we're going to put them in the description as well, what we talked about tonight, the points that we made for our hushers. Is there anything anybody want to add?
No, but I did have a request from one of our followers, and you know, I'm always tickled. They was like, they want to get some of this merch we wearing for our Girl Hush. They liked our Girl Hush t-shirts from last week and our mug. So hushers, we will have merch soon, but we're still in our initial phase of this podcast.
Girl,
and I love you all, ladies.
Yes, we will. We're going to be working on we're going to have an up and coming Facebook page. We're going to have coming, and we're going to post it Instagram. And make sure you follow us on all our platforms: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. What else are we on?
Podbean.
YouTube and Podbean. Thank you, Podbean. We're on Podbean, so make sure that you check us out. And our Podbean, hopefully, is going to be coming to iTunes and what is it called on Google on the Android phones?
Ooh, I don't know.
Don't play. Now you're trying to show out because I'm the only one on this podcast with an Android. And I don't know. Okay. GirlHush.
Has a podcast app. What is y'all podcast app called? Is this called podcast too?
I'm on Podbean, so I don't know if there's something different.
Wendy, do you have an Android or you got iPhone?
iPhone.
Oh, okay.
You know her stuff be blue.
And so Takitha got thrown off.
Oh, no,
so,
did
she hang up? No, and she probably, because you know she's sort of in a bad area, so I think it disconnected her.
Okay.
I was just saying, we just playing. We love Android.
That was real convenient. That was a real convenient time.
See,
right, we love Android.
Wait a minute. That's what happens when you on an Android. All of us iPhone people, we get thrown off.
Oh,
She
mercy.
gonna kill me when she see this part of the record. So Takitha, this is just a message to you. This is why you need an iPhone, because you wouldn't have gotten kicked out of the thing. So with
Ooh.
that being said, make sure that you balance. Life is a balancing act. We pray that you got something from this podcast. And so on this note, we thank you for tuning in to Girl Hush. We are about to end this podcast, but we cannot end without saying
Girl,
Girl Hush.
gosh, we need to work on that.